You should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day, unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for an hour. Zen proverb. DC Tribe, Josh Thomas. If you haven't already, check out thedozone.com for productivity tips, accountability, and just a bunch of badass human beings looking to get more stuff done. Once again, that's thedozone.com. Today's guest is Jason Lafferty. Jason is an insurance and real estate agent in Fort Worth, Texas, who is trying to build an RV park empire. Jason, welcome to the Do Zone. Say what's up to the tribe and tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, man.
Sure.
Cool. So a key to get most thing done most people don't think of. I think for me, a big thing has just been kind of clarity on what I want. Because, the first 10 years of my entrepreneur journey, it was always like, yeah, I'm going to get there and then something cool is going to happen or something's going to change, but it wasn't very clear. So I think just a little clarity on exactly what I want it kind of just opens up the floodgates for productivity for me. So
Man,
that's my answer.
I've shared the same advice countless times. It just really doesn't matter how good you are at something if you don't know what you actually want to accomplish. That really is crucial. You must form a destination before you can take off on the trip.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, man. And so you spent some time kind of wandering around. What was that when you said,
Yeah.
oh, well, I get here, things will be cool. What was that in your head before you really knew what you wanted? What was your vision of the future? What was really driving you at that time before you had that clarity of vision?
The drive, I don't know. I've just always been scrappy and hungry. So I've never really lacked the drive. I've definitely always lacked like being more purposeful and intentional. And like I said, the clarity. So like when I was young, I had 21, I had a transport company. And it was just 2008, 2009 during a recession when I started it. We're just getting after it. And, fuel prices were as high as they are now. And it was just a tough business. But so I was always just hustling and fighting for it. And I always thought once I get a few more connections or I get over to where I'm actually netting six figures, then, things are just magically going to come together. So I guess like kind of put a number or place on it, but I just wasn't like really focused on where do I need to get? How do I get there? Build a roadmap and make it happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're looking for that threshold of, oh, well, I feel like my problems are going to go away once I get over there. Sometimes that over there is a little bit vague. Sometimes it's, hey, when I make $100,000 a year, all my problems are going to go away. I just need to get to six figures. That'll be good, right? All my problems go away when I get to six figures, don't they? I mean, that's
right.
True, right? Reassure me, Jason.
Yeah, just more problems come. It depends on how you handle them, I guess.
It just changes the problems. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're looking to ultimately solve all of your problems, you may as well just give up, because that'll never happen. The only thing that happens is you replace your problems with different ones. Now, they may be harder, or they may be easier, or they may just look different. They may have a different flavor or smell to them. But there's always going to be something on the horizon. You can't avoid that.
Mold and shift them how you like them. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. And so one second. So tell me a little bit about, how did you get this entrepreneurial bug about you? Take us back to the food truck bus. I want to hear this story. How does a guy end up like, slinging sandwiches out of a bus?
Well, the first part of that question, that initial bug, I was 18 years old in Santa Monica Community College, and I just took an intro to business class. And I was just like, was kind of blown away. I'm just like, it just kind of opened my brain. I was a young kid, I was just like, oh, okay. And I was just like, I started getting the brain turning and start coming up with ideas. So it just really lit off a light bulb for me. But fast forward 6 years or so to the food truck, my transport company I had for 4 or 5 years, that came to a screeching halt. And so I had a 1991 school bus, and I was like, I don't want to quit and sell out to this other trucking company and go work for them. So I was like, I had a friend that lived in Huntsville, Alabama. He's like, why don't you bring the truck out here and we'll, turn it into a food truck. So I was like, well, screw it. I just packed my stuff, threw my dogs in the bus, and just drove out there.
See, seems like a good idea. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, sweet. Because we were checking it out in Alabama in 2013. They just allowed breweries. So they were popping up everywhere and they were very popular. And it was just common theme for the idea was to set up at breweries and then eventually work on a lunch schedule and kind of go from there. So we got that all built out. It was pretty fun driving around town in a 36-foot school bus, just driving it like I stole it and honking at people. So it was definitely an eye catcher. And starting off was pretty good. I had a business partner, and then it got the winters are really tough. And in the first winter, 6 months into it, he quit on me. So I was like, okay. He was supposed to be the chef, and I was supposed to be the business guy. And I was like, okay, it looks like I'm gonna learn how to cook a little better. So yeah, so it was definitely a four-year run that had a lot of ups and downs, and learned a lot. Came up with some cool recipes.
What was your favorite recipe?
My barbecue sauce, and then it's like a sriracha aioli I call the bus sauce that you kind of put on everything.
Oh yeah.
And so the barbecue sauce was cool because I just tried different things and just really made it my own. Like instead of doing liquid smoke, I'd get some chili peppers. They're dehydrated, and then I would smoke them and put them in a coffee grinder to give the smoky flavor. And instead of just different chili powder, I'd mix in some wasabi powder and just like some, I don't know, there's like 35 different ingredients into it. It's pretty good. But the bus sauce, that's like you put on your tacos, you put on your burgers, your eggs, and all this stuff. It's like a sriracha aioli. And that thing was a big hit. And so started bottling it, had a label, nutritional facts. I had a guy that was going to get it in stores, bought a pallet of bottles right before the big accident where I wrecked the truck.
No.
But that thing was ready to take off and be in a bunch of stores and stuff. So that'd have been pretty cool.
Right. The bus sauce. And then, but instead it was like a flaming bus because you wrecked it into something. What happened?
So it was St. Patty's Day, and I was just kind of overworked. Didn't get much sleep. And so I was just driving home on the highway, and then next thing you know, I have a blowout, and I take out the streetlight pole, and I kind of come to, and the streetlight pole's sitting in my lap, and the thing's totaled. And the little town I was at, it took out power in half the town for almost a day. So the people were pretty mad Sunday morning when they tried to go to the grocery store.
Until power goes out, and Jason, oh, my bad, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So that literally crashed and burned, and you had to get the heck out of there. And so how do you recover from something like that?
Oh, it was rough, because they arrested me because I had a couple of beers, and so I got a DUI with the accident, and I just blew a couple over the limit. I didn't think it was a big deal at the time, but now it's kind of stupid. But so I just woke up and I had a bruised rib and my shoulder was all messed up. And then when I got out of jail, I was operating the kitchen out of this horse arena for their events as well. And this police officer met me there. He's like, "You got till 5 p.m. to show me some insurance or I'm taking you back to jail or something." He was all pissed off. But then the next morning, I'm just kind of regrouping, and that horse arena contract for running their kitchen, they canceled on me, and all these events started canceling. And just as things were falling in place, I was like, this looks like an opportune time to come back to Texas. So
yeah, it's been fun, guys, but I'm out of here. Texas doesn't have any laws, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, I didn't really build it up, but I was between the food truck and I was working on a second truck. I was doing about 275,000 a year in tacos, and it was rolling pretty good. And right before that, obviously, but the big one was I was in pretty tight with the VP of sales for Remington Firearms out there, and they had a plant that had about 300 people that had an empty kitchen that they'd have vendors come serve lunch, kind of catering style. So I built a relationship with him. So what I'm getting at is that, like, I was just about a month away from, signing an agreement with him to serve their 300 people, and they were going to grow their plant to like 700 people. And the guy was like, didn't want a monthly rent. He didn't want a percentage of the profit. He just wanted me to have decent food prices for his employees. So to me, doing 275,000 in tacos out of a food bus, and then you add that would have been at least another 150,000 in sales right there, which, then when you get to that point, you can start building better teams, and like, I don't have to do everything. It's kind of like it was like almost on the brink point of just kind of like a launch pad.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just exploded.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's kind of literally a lamppost in your lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's an interesting, it's an interesting situation. And it draws a parallel to so many entrepreneurs who are sitting here and listening to this right now. I mean, how many times have we gone after a dream or a vision and ended up with that lamppost in our lap?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's almost like not a question of if, but when in most situations. Mm-hmm. And the real sign of strength is, okay, you're sitting here with the lamppost in your lap, and the police are doing the jaws of life to pull you out and take you to jail. What do you do next? What's your next move? How do you recover from that? And so you went to Texas, and what was the next move for you?
Well, when I got out of jail, the first thing I did was call my buddy Joe, and I was like, hey man, I'm in my late 20s now. I've owned a couple good businesses, but I don't really have any particular set of skills that really equated to much. And so he was like, my brother Brian McKittrick, he's like, he's in insurance, he's doing really good, give him a call. So I hung up with him, called Brian. I was like, hey man, I used to live across the street from him a few years ago. I knew him a little bit, and he just started telling me about health insurance and what he was doing and where he was at. So I just made a decision. I was like, well, I'm not going to sit here and, just fester and get depressed and sit around and cry and bitch and moan. Like, I've decided I'm just going to attack that. I went to sign up for class to get my insurance license that day. Packed all my stuff, burned a bunch of stuff, sold a bunch of stuff.
Wait.
I'll get to just
you burned a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, well, because you got to think, I had like a couple of kitchens, food truck, a bunch of equipment stuff, so you could sell stuff. But then it was like, got to a point where there's a lot of shit going on. I was trying to build some restaurants and stuff. So I was like, if I can't sell it, I'm burning it, because I was living out in the country. Yeah, I was sitting there with a bruised rim and a busted shoulder by myself, just like, well, is it going to go in the trip back to Texas? If not, if I can sell it, nope. All right, I'm burning it. And so just that thing burned for like 3 weeks, and it was just like I don't know, like a passage kind of journey kind of thing, just
no, I get it. It's
new beginnings.
It's very metaphorical, it's like, I'm just burning up my old life, but you took it literally. So what were some things that you threw into the fire to burn up your old life to start the new one? What are some examples of, like, if you couldn't take it with you and you couldn't sell it, you got to burn it? What'd you have to burn?
I don't know, because I was just throwing stuff in there.
I don't know. I was just like, whatever wouldn't fit in the car, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I probably threw away some old boxes of, collectible stuff that I've collected over the years, concert tickets, photos, probably that I shouldn't have. A lot of just pointless stuff too. But, I was just kind of thinking of, if I was Japanese, what would I do? Just the minimalist thing. You don't need it.
Right.
And
so you call your boy, and he says, and you say, well, I've owned some businesses, but I don't have any particular skills. And he said, you should sell insurance. All right. So you hit the ground running on that, man, and you take it very seriously. You start studying, you get your license, and then what happened?
It wasn't pretty, because my background, so my background before was a food truck, and So that's a certain personality and kind of work ethic, versus phone sales. And before that was a transport company, and it was just, I had 4 employees, a bunch of part-time employees, and it was just a lot of logistics. So it was an intro for me for sales, not selling myself necessarily, but a different type of sales. So the first summer just sucked. Like it was 3 or 4 months. I sold like 5 policies or something. I was like second guessing my life.
Yeah.
Wanted to quit like 5 times, and I was just like, what am I doing? And then health insurance open enrollment is, you do 75% of your business each year in a few months. So that was coming around. And then finally, just October, right around Halloween, it just clicked. I was like, okay, here's a little more process, what people are looking for. I was just finally figuring it out, and then it just fucking took off from there. I was able to get my back end monthly residuals to eight grand a month within 18 months, and so it was pretty nice little journey for sure. I'm glad I didn't quit.
Yeah. And so that's a big change. And then kind of creating that regular nest egg allows you to jump into some other ventures. And we'll get to those in a second. But I want to take that. You got a good looking noggin over there. I want to crack it open and take a look at your brain. Is that okay? Yeah. And do a little zone diagnostic. 5 quick questions.
Ready.
Just rapid fire. First thing comes to your mind. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And so, number 1, let me ask you, what is one thing that you do, Jason, that helps you keep focused on your goals?
I've been getting better at it, but just doing more of a frequent audit on what I want and kind of what I'm looking for. And then once I do a little audit and a readjustment, then it's like step to the side and then move forward, step to the side, move forward, and move the junk out of the way and clear it up.
I like that. I like the way that you're describing that. You move forward, you step to the side, take a look. And so the next question is, how do you get back on track when you lose that focus?
That just for me, just thinking of the big picture. I was at this sales conference last weekend, and John Cheplack said something about trust the process, not the outcome. So it's just working out the process and then having that big goal on, when you have the house in Port Aransas and the kind of the bigger goals that I have. So trust the process and the work right there, because you got something bigger in mind. So that kind of helps me get back on the horse.
Nice. And who is your support group, and how do they keep you accountable?
Oh, just a few friends, girlfriend for sure. She's a real estate agent too, so we're always bouncing ideas off each other.
Nice.
A few friends in Apex and stuff, and just people I regularly communicate with, and like, hey, what are you working on? What do you do? And what's going on, and so yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And Jason, how do you approach a difficult project that you're not sure how to complete?
I just try to take a good look at it. What's the common goal, and kind of just build a roadmap. I feel like if I can build a roadmap, then you can figure things out along the way.
Makes sense. And what would you say, last question, what would you say is the number 1 pro tip that you would give to somebody looking to get more stuff done in less time?
Clarity and purpose.
Yep. Coming right back around, man. Got a information sandwich right there. I love it. So
yeah.
So talk to me a little bit. You've done a bunch of things, and the next project here is this RV empire. Talk to me a little bit about that. What's that all about?
Well, you have definitely the needs, around Dallas, Fort Worth. It's hard to rent anywhere if you were trying to lease somewhere for under $1,500. And so creating, 40 to 45 little spot RV park where somebody's paying around $400 or $500 a month, is in ridiculous demand right now. So I've had a couple clients, they sold their house and they were looking to kind of just do the RV life for a little while. And the first 30 of them that you call are full. So sure, there's plenty of like the resort style ones that charge a little bit more, and they're obviously set up a little bit different. But for somebody that's kind of in that certain market, it's definitely a crazy need in a lot of places, especially around here in DFW. So
And
just the idea of creating a safe environment for somebody, not a freaking a meth lab trailer park, somewhere where somebody's safe and has a decent, place to live. It seems like a go-to, like a no-brainer for me.
yeah, and it's interesting that you don't want to go after the super lux, but you don't want to go to the meth labs either. And so
Mhm.
this kind of in between where, hey, I don't need all of the frills. I just need a place that's safe. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the bulk of all types of real estate, really. When you look at multifamily and apartments, the super ritzy class A stainless steel, everything with the water displays and all of that.
Mhm.
Most people don't need that and they don't want it and they're not willing to pay the premium. But they also don't want to live in a place that they're worried about, intruders and that could happen anywhere, but they don't want to be in a place
Sure.
where they're not really sure what their neighbors are up to.
Yeah.
And so there's this whole swath in the middle that is the most attractive to the most people. And what you're saying is there's a huge demand for that in the
Mhm.
RV space. And
Yeah.
and what was it that initially attracted you to the RV parks to begin with? I believe you're a bit of an enthusiast yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I got a nice camper now, but I've had crappier campers before. I've just been involved in going to a lot of different RV sites. Like when I had a transport company, it was hauling campers. So, I mean, it's been kind of entrenched in the field, been to a ton of different parks and kind of know how they operate, how they set up, what they look like, you know, why they look like that. And, so definitely an enthusiast. And what kind of kicked it off was um, I was looking at some property for a client and outside of Covington, Texas, south of Cleburne, south of Fort Worth. And there was just freaking RV parks on the side of the highway. This like this guy had it up his mobile home and he'd set up 10 little spots right there and they were all full. And so I just kind of looking a little bit more into it about the development side, the, different county laws and rules and what that would look like. And I think a lot of people are a little deterred from it just because it's takes a little bit of a grit and effort and kind of getting after it. The beautiful thing that I'm think and believe is that it's not like a mobile home park, where you have the mobile homes and they're renting from you, because those type of people, there's a good chance that your unit's going to get trashed. So the difference is these are people bringing their own stuff. They're
Mm.
not tenants. It's not a lease agreement. It's a, site agreement to where if we have a disagreement, pack your shit and get out.
Yeah.
It's their stuff. So if they want to trash, they're welcome to, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
So are there different kind of tenant laws in place for that type of thing? For instance, you couldn't necessarily just kick somebody out if they were renting an apartment
Mhm.
or a house or a mobile home, but
Mhm.
it's different for RVs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all in the paperwork, but they're not having mailboxes there. There's no lease agreements. So it's more of like a site agreement to
Mhm.
where, it's very clear that when they walk in, it's going to be like, hey, this is, a safe place for people. If there's ever any disagreements or issues, we reserve the right to refuse anybody because you're not a tenant and it's
Mm.
nothing personal. But this is what it is. And so there's no tenancy laws to back that up because they're not tenants.
Got it. Well, it's fascinating stuff. And so, what is the ultimate goal for this, and what's the time frame?
The initial goal is to get one rolling and
Yeah,
have a overly proof of process and then do a freaking dozen of them,
that's right.
you know? and then retire in Costa Rica.
That's a good plan. I love it. And so are you currently looking for anybody to jump in and participate in this with you, or what would be the best way for somebody to reach out, and why would they connect with you? What are some of the different reasons that somebody might get in touch with you?
To get in touch with me, I just usually keep everything on jasonvlafferty.com.
Mhm.
And the reason to, if somebody was interested in investing in it, just to kind of go over what the process would be, what it looks like, and how everything's going to lay out, and what it actually looks like on paper, and with the demand and everything like that, and the execution of it.
Yep. Awesome. Great. So that's jasonvlafferty.com. Very good.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, Jason, I really appreciate you coming on here and
man,
sharing a little bit of your story about the bus sauce and the lamppost in your lap. So for anybody interested in reaching out and connecting with Jason about his various adventures, to catch up with him, see where he's at, talk to him about his RV business, which is his passion right now, you can reach out to him directly at jasonvlafferty.com. You can also go to thedozone.com if you're a busy entrepreneur looking to get to the next level. You can get some more productivity tips, tools, and strategies over there. Until next time, remember, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. What are you going to do with yours?